welcome back to a brand new vlog. I know it's been a very long time since I posted the last vlog. It's actually been, I guess, maybe 3-4 months now at this point. So I apologize for that, but there's some really good reasons for that. Number one, we've been working on building Eisei-en, our nursery in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got a big announcement. We're gonna be opening on September 1st and 2nd, 2018. So September 1st and 2nd of this year, we're gonna have a big opening event. I've got Maro Stemberger from Italy, Naoki Maioka from Japan coming in to do some demonstrations. So if any of you guys are interested in coming to that, I'll have all the information on my website here in the next couple of weeks, so you guys can check that out. The second thing is that I've been putting in a lot of time to finish the advanced course with Bonsai Empire. We released it just a couple of weeks ago. It's out online now, so if you guys are interested, go check that out. I appreciate all of you who have already signed up for it. Thank you so much for your support. This week, I'm actually in South America for the very first time. I'm in Brazil for their National Bonsai Exhibition in a really special place, actually. This is a hotel with a bonsai museum and a bonsai nursery attached to the hotel. So the whole thing is contained within the hotel here. The owner of the hotel is a guy named Francisco, who has been in bonsai for a very long time, and he's actually been developing some material in the ground for nearly 30 years. I want to take you guys down to the growing fields and show you exactly what those trees look like. It's pretty spectacular, so let's head down there and check it out. We're working on some junipers here that he's been growing in the ground for about 26 years. You can see them behind me here. Spectacular material. These are what we think are Juniperus formosana. It's a really fast growing juniper. They actually call it common juniper down here. Technically, it's not really the common juniper or Juniperus communis. It's a completely different foliage type, but it's a very common juniper down here in Brazil, so they call it the common juniper here. He started twisting them up when they were only about pinky size 26 years ago and planted them in the ground. He's been going through this whole process of every couple of years twisting, letting them grow, cutting them back, twisting, letting them grow, cutting them back. And as you can see, they're freaking huge behind me here. They must be probably 3.5 meters tall at the absolute highest in here, but there's a lot of lower growth on the trees, and he's actually grafting Itoigawa, a really special variety of Itoigawa, to the bases of these trees and turning them into Itoigawa plants. So really spectacular process. I want to show you some of the trees that he has here because it's just mind-blowing. So this is the first iteration of what Francisco did 26 years ago. You can see this tree behind me here. It's got a beautiful twist at the base, nice movement all the way up, but each of these twists here in the branches and in the trunks, that's a twist that he put in or his men put in here over those 26 years. So again, it's like every 3 years or so, he'd put a twist, let it grow, put another twist, let it grow. And that's how you get these really big, gnarly, twisted branches on a tree like this with this gnarly trunk. Now, you can see there's a lot of back budding down here with the natural foliage type, but instead of using this foliage here, which is really spiky, it doesn't really develop into anything nice, he's actually grafting a lot of these with Itoigawa, like I just mentioned. So that process is really simple down here in Brazil because of the weather here. So he does these T approach grafts rather than running the graft along the length of the branch. He actually crosses the Itoigawa with the formosana here on a T, on a sharp angle. You get this really interesting look to the branches that way. He has some that he's done several years ago, and the foliage, the original foliage, has been completely removed. So you can actually see just how successful the lines are and how beautifully they flow and how natural it looks by doing this T joint with the graft. So I'm going to show you guys a few examples of that, but I just wanted you to see what these guys look like in the ground out here. You can see just how big it is with my hand right at the base here. Spectacular trees, but 26 years in the ground. People back in the day laughed at him for doing this kind of stuff, but it's paying off major dividends now. So let's take a little bit more of a look around in the forest here. So another thing that Francisco is really good at is taking these trees out of the ground and working with the dead wood in a way that looks incredibly natural. So he uses this peeling technique where he peels the fibers away little by little by little and develops these channels and beautiful look, but it's only with hand tools. He doesn't use any power tools to get this effect. I've got one of these trees that I'm going to be styling, and he's going to be doing the deadwood work on. So it'll be a nice joint venture between the two of us. I'm looking forward to doing that, but it's a really cool process, and you can see just how natural this looks. Now this was done relatively recently, so it still has a lot of the fibers on here, but over time in the hot sun, those things are going to start to disappear and fall off. And it's going to look even more natural as the tree ages even further beyond this, but pretty cool effect. All right, so this is the final product for now. We're leaving the dead wood nice and open like this, so we're not doing a lot of detail on it right now, but the sun will hit this, and over the course of the next 2 years, this will start to dry out and fissure up and look much more natural. So for now, we've got the basic structure set. Now we're just gonna let it grow for the next couple of years. So this is third generation in terms of twist. You can see the trees are much smaller, much skinnier than the big trees that are 26 years old on the opposite end of the nursery. These guys here are probably only about 5 years old or so. But what he did at the 2-year stage is he twisted them up to begin with in the pots. So he took stuff that was pinky to pointer finger size in terms of diameter, twisted them up, left them in the pot for another year till they were established. Then he planted them in the ground. And this is, I believe, the third iteration or the third twist. You can see what he does is he's twisted the trunk, then he's twisted the branches, then he's gonna let it grow. So he's got these long runners here, he's gonna let these grow, and then he's gonna keep the smaller stuff right here at the base. Then this next year, he'll twist these up. As this gets too long, as it starts to suck energy from this, he'll cut it back to this, then he'll allow the tip of this to grow after it's been twisted, and he'll repeat the process over and over again for another 25 years or so till he gets giant fat trees like what you see on the opposite end of the nursery. So this is what bonsai is all about. It's about the foresight, about thinking 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years out to develop something that you might have in your mind that people at the time might look at and say, oh, that looks ridiculous, this looks stupid. But if you have this vision in your head, you can create beautiful trees out of it, and that's what it's all about. So this isn't something that I would normally work with in my climate because it's way too cold in the winter, but these are Brazilian rain trees. You can see behind me here, they've been contorted up very similarly to the junipers that we just talked about. These trees I think have been in the ground for 18 years. You can see they're really starting to get that nice muscly kind of look to the trunks, but these are gonna get cut down eventually to the proper height and new branches will be developed so they can have nice taper out from where those branches were chopped, and you'll have this really nice, beautiful silhouette, really nice ramification to the tree. But again, 18 years in the ground. It's that foresight I was talking about earlier. That's the only way you create material like this.